Alright, Representative here, back with another Honkai Star video. And today I want to be talking about a potential banner change that we may be getting that would most likely benefit most players that do play the game. So this video first is going to be talking about what it is, of course, and then I'm going to talk about why I do think it's a good thing for a majority of players. I will list the scenarios on why it's good, and then I will list scenarios on why it's bad. I will also have a very important disclaimer, so don't miss that. Before I get into the video, drop a like, drop a sub, hit the bell icon, let's get straight into it. So I'm going to start off with this massive disclaimer: this is info going around. Speculation, info, again, just going around. None of this is 100% confirmed, so take this with a grain of salt. It might not happen at all. It could potentially be implemented in the next update. We do not know. This is not like 100% reliable things either. Like, these are not people that often always got stuff that would go around be right. So once again, take all this info with a grain of salt. It is unaware. It is completely unknown if this is going to actually happen, but if it does, it will probably be massive. So what is this change? So this is, as you saw in the thumbnail, is a banner change. Pretty much how the banner changes would work would be 1, shifting around how units are released, and then 2, extending the duration. From the info going around, this does seem like the change would work as follows. When the update does come out, both the new characters will be right away available to be summoned on. So for example, let's take the upcoming 3.0 update. Let's say 3.0 comes out. Usually we would have Herta and a rerun, right? In this case, we would have Herta, and instead of the rerun, it would already be Acheron. You'd think, oh, this is a bad thing because now we just have 21 days to get both new characters, and the second half might be another new character or just reruns. No, the way this would work is actually extending the duration of the banner. So the first half would be the 2 new characters, so in this case it would be the new Herta and then also Acheron. Instead of the banner lasting 21 to 22 days, so 3-ish weeks, it would span across the entire version of that update. Meaning it would last from 43 to 44 days because it would expand across the entire version. And so you might think this is a bad thing because then where the reruns are going to come in and such. The way that it is said is that 1, the first half would be the 2 new characters going after that, and after 21 days, usually when we get to the second phase of the update. So for example, in 2.7 we're about to get there, we're going to get Sunday and Jiguan after 21-ish days they will leave, and then will be Fugue and also Firefly. Pretty much it will work similar to that, but once again, the new characters will be available right away as the update goes out. It will span across the entire update, so instead of lasting 21 days, it will last 42, 43, 44, however many. And after 21 days, there will be 2 new banners, which would mean the rerun banners that we'd originally get. So it would most likely push one of the reruns that we'd usually get from the first half onto the second version, and then the second version reruns just staying there. So after 21 days do pass, the reruns of those characters would start. So this seems like a banner change that is potentially going to happen not only in Starro but also in Genshin, and maybe it said Honkai 3rd as well, but I don't know how that would work considering the banner system is different. But for Starro and Genshin it would make sense as we practically have the same identical banners. So right as the version starts, instead of 1 character, 1 rerun, it would be both new characters, but instead of spanning for the 22-ish days, it would span across the entire update, bringing it up to 44-ish days. And then after 21, they would add 2 more banners out, which would be the reruns, adding those banners on for the rest of the update being 21 days. So effectively what this means is the newer unit gets to be used or summoned on earlier, and the version 1 unit and the phase 1 unit alongside the phase 2 unit will be lasting the entire update, giving you an extra 3 weeks to potentially pull for them. So for most players, and by most players I mean above 90% of players, this would definitely be a really good change, as it does give you even more time to see how others feel about the unit. What I mean by that is you maybe watch people that test the units and such, make guides on them and all that kind of stuff. Or you watch some opinion videos and just see how people are feeling about the unit, and then you want to wait for summoning, but sometimes you want to wait till around the end of the banner, but you still might not have a complete verdict. This would effectively extend the time, give you even longer to make a decision, and on top of that would give you even more time to actually go ahead and get the character. Because even if you're someone that planned on maybe getting the first half character and then also getting the second half character both on day 1, but say this change happened and you wouldn't have enough currency to save up throughout the first half after you do get the first unit, this really doesn't change anything because you can still get the first unit you plan on originally getting, get them, and then while you are saving for the rest, you could just keep throwing the summons on the second unit, effectively also getting them within the same time frame, if not even a little earlier. So for the majority of players, and especially free-to-play players, because this gives you a lot more time to actually try to get the units and expands the banners for so much longer, for the most part, free-to-play players, low spender players, definitely a really good change. If this does happen, because once again, this might just be completely bogus and just not happen. So once again, for 90 to 95% of players, this is probably a really good change. since there practically is no downsides except the ones I'm going to list. These ones are pretty specific, so the first one is if you're someone that's looking for a specific rerun, this would obviously push the potential chance of them being in the first half into the second half, so you'd have to wait a little bit longer. But effectively, it wouldn't really change the odds unless they did change the banner and they added another new unit, making it 3 new unit releases, which I really pray to God does not happen. But assuming it's just 2 reruns on the second half that would happen after the 21 days, effectively, it doesn't really change anything. You just have to wait a little longer, which some people might see as a downside. Since, just like me, I know a lot of people are impatient. If I had to wait longer for a rerun, I'd also be pretty upset because I just want to get the unit. So if you're slightly impatient in that sense, it's going to be a downside for you. But once again, that's really specific because technically it's mostly viewed as an upside since it gives you more time to save for that rerun. Another plus side I forgot to specifically mention is if you're not interested in the first half unit but you want the second half unit, so let's say you want Aglia and not Herta. This would allow you to get Aglia right away so you don't have to wait the 21 days for the banner to leave, assuming you have enough currency. And even if you don't, you can still end up getting it earlier than you normally would. So that's another plus. Another very small percentage of people is some content creators. I'm gonna use me as an example. Is I like, you guys know, if I get the unit, I try to make the guides like right away, day right after. So them moving both units onto the same day on the first part of the update would mean I have to get one unit and get the other unit and make videos on both of them, which you guys know I spend on the game, would result in me spending a lot more money than I would on a single sitting. You could say overall it could still end up just being the same because you'd have to do it anyway when the second half does come out, but still spending it all in one sitting as opposed to spending it within a 3-week gap is very different, especially from how things work, and you don't want to spend a bunch of money in one sitting alone. So people in my similar situation, which is very few people, I'm just talking about content creators that might do stuff similar to me, which is quite a lot of people, but not a crazy amount of the Star Rail base is content creators. That is a big downside. And then another downside is if you are just a spender, like a pretty heavy spender, but not like a whale that can always guarantee getting every unit with dupes and all the icons and kind of stuff like that. But you spend enough to where you want to try to get at least everything you do want, and maybe you want to get most units coming out. If they do the thing where they move that to the first half, you'd be in the similar situation of a content creator, but not the content creator part. You just want to get the units. Combine that with the fact that you may also be impatient, so you just want to get the units right away. That can result in you spending a lot more in one sitting as well. It's the same thing as I pretty much mentioned that it would be for someone like me. Those are pretty much the only 2-3-ish cases where I can think of this as a downside, which ultimately isn't the worst. It's not the end of the world. It may be a bit painful to look at, but overall most players, which by most I mean literally 90, 95, maybe even 96, 97, 98% of the community, this change would be really good because once again it moves the new characters earlier. So if you want to get one or the other, it will allow you to do it in that time period right away. If you want to get both, or you want more time on trying to get the first unit, you get the whole update instead of just 21 days. So you just get a lot more time to save up, try, wait for what other people think about the units, make your final decision, because now instead of having 3 weeks, you have up to about 6 weeks, which is a pretty big time to make a decision if you want a unit or two. So again, for the most part, this would be viewed as a positive. Anyway, yep, that is the video. Once again, I cannot disclaim this enough this time specifically. This is just info going around, not reliable in the sense of at all, but I wanted to make a video on it discussing it because it does seem extremely interesting and would be really cool to see. So if it does happen, I want to see how people do also think about it. So definitely comment down below if this does end up happening in any way, shape, or form in the next few updates. How would you be feeling about it? And if you're someone that's like a spender, if you're free to play, light spender, all that kind of stuff, I would love to hear your opinions. But yes, once again, this is not confirmed info. This is just info going around, all speculations, changes to banners throughout the Hoyoverse kind of games. It's just info going around and it's not reliable by any sense. The best thing you can do is just to wait for the official versions to come out, or at least near the time. If this was going to happen, they would definitely announce it on their live stream or announce it on their Twitter page, Hoyo Lab, all that kind of stuff. Then we would 100% know, but again, this is just info going around. So yeah, let me know if something like this were to happen. How would you guys feel? That's the video. Peace out.